And the gloves
There
here.
it is. What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I am joined by Bryan the Brick Abraham, a veteran of close to 50 fights in his illustrious boxing career. And he is joining me on East Coast time in New York. Bryan, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing very fine. How are you? Thank you for adding me.
Ah, man, the pleasure's on mine. Pleasure's on mine. And a big shout out to Everett Osmer, who helped set this up. He's a great friend of the both of us, and couldn't thank him enough.
Yeah, shout out to Everett.
Yeah,
Always.
man. So obviously, I mean, you've got close to 50 fights in your career. What was it about boxing that kind of you know transformed the mind and the soul of a young Bryan Abraham?
So it all started from street boxing. Before Kimbo Slice came out, I was carrying my 18-ounce gloves in my book bag, riding my bike around at the age of 14, 15, 16, just picking who to box. And I want to watch other people box too. It ain't got to be just me, but that's how I started the street boxing.
That's brilliant. It's funny that you mentioned Kimbo Slice because that was actually the first video that I'd ever seen on YouTube. My sister's like, "Hey, you gotta check out this guy on this like website that plays the videos like all the time and whatever." And it was Kimbo doing his thing in Florida, and my goodness, after that, it was just like what is Kimbo Slice doing and what is this YouTube site doing? So it's kind of funny that we're doing this on YouTube.
Yeah, it grew. It grew. Kimbo Slice grew fast on that. And not saying that I was the first idea to come up with street boxing, backyard boxing, but it was people were doing it before me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not taking all the credit from being a street boxer and now a professional boxer.
That's crazy. And it's funny because, not just in your career, but I mean, the UFC on Saturday is taking place in Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates. And the headline fight is Jorge Masvidal, right? Fighting for the UFC title. Well, Jorge Masvidal was on the undercard on a lot of those Kimbo Slice fights, so it's funny that you, as well as, Jorge Masvidal essentially started out your respective careers in bare knuckle or street fighting, street boxing, and look at where you guys are today.
You know, I grew pretty fast on the amateur career. I only had 19 amateur fights, and then I turned pro, and now I'm pro. So I wasn't really trying to like have a long amateur career. I wanted to go like 3 amateur fights and then turn pro. You know what I'm saying? So my amateur coach Vince Kittle, he was trying to groom me into being excellent. I mean, I was an excellent amateur fighter because a lot of people that won Golden Gloves the year before I started boxing, I came in there and wiped them out, and nobody knew me, so I was like the secret weapon type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and now that I came into pro boxing, people looking at me as who is this guy? I'm gonna knock this guy out, and all my wins are win by knockout. So and the fighters too. So out of all my wins are undefeated fighters, and my losses, I would say I won more than half of my losses. So and my losses were my robbies were Ed Brown, Larry Fryer, Travis Dimko, Tommy O'Connell, like just just fights that made me. It didn't want to end my career. Like when you lose so many times, then what? Forget about boxing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the give up type of guy, and I really wasn't really trying to be like a. I wouldn't. It sounds stupid, but not really. I wasn't reaching for the world champion type of boxer. I just like boxing. I just like the competition. I like the combat. You know what I mean? So it kind of sucks that I started off my career not really caring about the boxing record. You know what I'm saying? Because 40 fights, I should be. You know what I'm saying? So with all the losses I got, I'm not really making that much money. Making a good penny, but not that where I can.
It's funny that you mentioned that because much like boxing in MMA, there's a similar kind of precedence where bad decision making or bad ref calls can essentially slight the trajectory of
Wait,
a
your
fighter's
mic is
career.
not. Your mic is muffled.
Pardon?
Your mic is muffled. I can't really clearly hear you.
Let's see here. Can you hear me now?
Same thing. Hold on.
See? All right. Let me back out of here. Doo, doo. There you go. All right. Are we back?
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I'm gonna hold on. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So it's funny because obviously judging is kind of a weird one. Right on the Joe Rogan podcast, none other than Josh Barnett had basically said, inefficient judging is a really, really horrible thing, in a young fighter's career. Right?
Oh,
Brian, you good? Can you hear me?
still not connecting. Hold on. Hello.
Can you hear me? I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but hardly.
Okay, I'll speak.
I can hear now. I can hear you now. I
All
can
right,
hear you.
cool, cool. Excellent. No, so I was just saying because I mean UFC heavyweight champion Josh Barnett was just on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had basically said how inefficient judging can ruin the trajectory of a young fighter's career. And it's one of those deals where, at least in here in the U.S., the state athletic commissions are essentially run as a government entity, and there isn't, if a ref makes a bad call, there really isn't any sort of recourse, to kind of get them back in line, right?
I got a lot of bad calls.
A lot of bad calls, yeah.
Got a lot of bad calls. Like I was beating dude. I knocked the guy down 3 times in the first round. Next round, he hit me like pretty not like a solid punch, but hit me and then it waved it off. I was like, you can see me. I got it on video too. Like a lot of my fights aren't even on video. You gotta think about that. Like a lot of boxers have all these fights and every fight that they have on YouTube, but my fight with them they don't post on YouTube. Why? Because they know it was a robbery.
Wow,
Think
that
about
is
that.
nuts to think about.
Think about that.
Now, I mean, why do you think that is? Do you have any kind of reasoning why that might have not gone your way?
I was the one that they are supposed to be, even though they hear that I'm a knockout artist. Okay, so they bring me in hoping I get a phone call like I'm at work, and then I get a phone call, got to fight this weekend, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be running. Okay, thank you. Send me the contract. I sign the contract, and then I'm running that night, hitting the bag that night, and until the weigh-ins. You know what I'm saying? So I'm only getting like 3 4 days of training. You know what I'm saying? And I lose like 10, 15 pounds, 20 pounds in like 3 days, 4 days a week. You know what I mean, so I'm doing, and I still look good. I still look good, not picture wise, but I still look good. Like I want to fight, but I run out of gas quick. But at the same time, like I'm just looking at for I'm looking for a knockout punch. But so there's nothing really wrong with looking for a knockout punch, but that's my name, so I'm gonna just work on trying to knock dudes out because that's what I do best.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it's weird, right? Because, like I was alluding to before, the state athletic commissions are essentially a government entity, right? So, if a ref makes a bad call, you have to, imagine going to like the DMV, right? And if there's a horrible person at the DMV, you can write your complaint letter or whatever, or complaint email, and it takes a while for them to even, listen to what you're saying, right? So imagine a fight, right, where the same type of government entity steps in and goes like, hey, we're going to call the fight this way, just, regardless of how the fight actually went. And again, you lose your purse. You're not getting called because a crummy decision. It's kind of egregious.
Like I said, they just bring me in to get that win. A lot of people that's working on building their career and win, they fight a lot of people that's supposed to be bums. I'm not a bum. I'm not really much of a walkover. I'm gonna be a your chin type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could beat me, you're gonna go pretty far. But at the same time, like I'm just getting robbed, and I'm still gonna keep fighting until I'm saying like I'm 37 years old. I started boxing at 25. I turned pro at 27. So like I did pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I'm already put the 2 fights in the game. So like I know I got a lot of losses, but a lot of people that watch the fights, a lot of people that show up at the fights, because I really don't show up with a crowd every fight that I have. Like I go there by myself. They'll send me a train ticket or plane ticket, or I'll have somebody drive me there or whatever, and then I'll just show up and be like, okay, who am I fighting? This guy. Okay, let's go.
That's nuts. But
Not even doing the background check on a guy. Like I'll probably watch like one video that he has on YouTube, and I'll be like, okay, that's enough.
that's really crazy, and but I mean, still, you love the sport, right? I mean, it's something that you like you said, you love boxing. It's not about the championships or the paydays or whatever. It's learning that sweet science and being able to apply it on literally a canvas. Every fighter, when they step in the ring or in the cage or whatever the platform is, that is a canvas essentially, right? And you guys and gals are essentially painting your masterpieces in real time, in a canvas, much like Picasso and what have you.
Showing your skill. Yeah, we're showing our skill, and I have a lot of skills. So if I'm going in the ring, not even in shape now, not even training, like I had probably like out of 7 of my wins or six, whatever, six of my wins, I only trained 3 of those wins by a guy named Vince that lives in Connecticut and Kyle that lives in Albany, like a half an hour drive from here. So Kyle won, helped me win 2 of my wins. Vince in Connecticut drove me out to Connecticut, and I stayed there for like 3 days, trained 3 days. Oh, I'm sorry, I trained a whole week for that fight, and Mohegan Sun, and I knocked the guy out in like the first round, like the first power punch, and I never laced my gloves. I just got a hard punch. That's why my name's a Brick. So I go in there and I upset the crowd. I upset the other corner. So I'm ready to upset more corners. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, buddy. You said it here, and the proof is in the pudding. You're out to show why the brick is absolutely apropos in terms of what it is to describe Brian Abraham.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people don't even know my real name. They just call me Brick. Like I'm Brick the barber. I'm a full time barber. So everything I have in the barbershop on my station is brick. Everything is brick on my station. I'm gonna show you real quick. Hold on. It was funny. Everything on my station is brick. So
I mean, that's so brilliant,
got the
and
brick right
you know,
there.
there it
Got the
is.
brick. Got the brick on my clippers. Got the brick over here. Got the brick mask because you got to wear a mask on a barbershop. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Wow, the face shield. Look at that.
Everything brick. I got the brick mask here. But yeah, I hear you.
Man, I mean, and that's what it's about, if you have a name, to be able to capitalize your name in front of your audience, and be able to make it pay for a lifestyle, or that's amazing. That's amazing. And I hope you're selling that, sir, because that's essentially a walking advertisement. Kids, walking
I got
around
my
the
own
neighborhood.
after spray.
Wow,
Bring hot
that's
talk. That's after spray. After the
that's
haircut.
pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Now, again, you're in New York now, right? But it's actually funny where you are. How do you pronounce the actual name?
My name?
No, the name of the town that you're in New York.
Schenectady. Schenectady.
Schenectady. That is also home to a pro wrestling Hall of Fame, isn't it?
What's the
Did you know
name?
that? There's a pro wrestling Hall of Fame that's actually situated in your town.
I think I met the
Funny
guy
enough.
a few years ago, like probably like 10 years ago. I forgot his name.
Yeah, it's a
Olympic wrestler.
it's
He
a
went to Saturday High too. Yeah, like heavyweight.
yeah.
Yeah. Forgot his name.
That's sick. That's sick. Now, obviously, I mean, you're not from New York State originally.
Nope.
You're from the southern states. What prompted the move?
Uh, I can't really answer. I mean, I can answer the questions the best I can, but my mom had 7 kids, and by that time, the breakup of the parents, and then now she's blew up here. I had family up here, like her brothers and sisters were living up here, and then they were like, "Oh, come over here, come up here. It's good up here." And we came up here and we started living life.
And more importantly, is you found a gym there. That you. I mean, the gym is essentially every fighter's spiritual home. And the fact that you could move away and kind of find a semblance of synergy that
Yeah,
that's amazing.
you know, you know.
So talk to me about the gym.
Okay, I was street boxing for a good 4 years, 5 years, just and I was a barber at the time. And one of my clients named Jalil, he was like, "Yo, why don't you go out to the gym and why don't you go out to the gym?" I'm like, "What gym?" I didn't even know a boxing gym was in Schenectady. So I went down to the gym, and then I walked in the gym. I was like, "Who's the best in the gym? I want to box right now." And at the time, the guy's name is um So, anyways, I called them out, and then they're like, "Nah, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself." So, because at the time, because gotta remember, I'm boxing people out the street. A lot of people can't even last a minute. You know what I'm saying? So this guy's trained, and he goes rounds, 10 feet in front of rounds, and I came in there like thinking I know what I'm doing, and then I called this guy out, and then my friend was like, "Jalil, like, nah, don't do it to yourself." Like, just train to work out first, then do it. So and then I turned
But it
pro.
all ended up for the better, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Met the coach. I met the other fighters. Ray Velez, um, heavyweight that in Don King camp. Um, um, names is saying names, trying to figure out names. So just I had a lot of good boxers in the gym at the time, Schenectady New Boxing. So I fought whenever the next fights came up. I fought at like 135 and 140, no heavier, 130 at the time. But I'm definitely happy that I had those 19 fights and I lost probably like only like 5 times within those 19 fights. And then I turned pro, and first, my first, my first fight was against Bryan Miller, and he was a hometown guy that I went to school with, and not probably not the same school, but definitely in the same school district or whatever. And we boxed each other. We knew each other, so we I'm not saying we didn't go too hard just because we know each other, but it was a good fight. It went to decision to a draw. So
That's really really cool. Now, I mean, obviously, you were doing a street boxing beforehand, right? And then you basically ended up in the traditional sweet science
Yeah.
of the sport. Was there a hard like gap in terms of transitioning, from kind of one style of boxing to the other, or did you take to it pretty
The
well?
coach Vince Kittle was trying to like mold me to being a technique boxer, like form and everything, like 1, 2, 3, like I'm still that I kind of like mix it up now, being a brawler and a technique boxer, like hand up and foot first and left. I fight left and right, or orthodox and so so it wasn't much of a big change. I'm still that brawler, I'm still that street fighter. I'm still that one to just. I'm learning how to not take a punch to punch because I got short arms. I'm not the fastest, but at the same time, if you hit me, I can definitely hit you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, but it's a strategy that you can use as a greenhorn, right? But it's not a strategy that you could use as you take more fights and crew more damage on the body. That take one, you give one, take one doesn't necessarily work out as you advance in your career.
It's not a good thing to take a lot of punches. I mean, it's like jumping in the pool without getting wet in a way. But at the same time, I've learned, and now I've learned to defense first. Defense first. It's like basketball. Like the whole crowd got the defense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like boxing's like that too. Like being got no defense, and you're not gonna have a long career. And people were telling me that in the beginning of my career, but I lasted this long. But at the same time, like I'm not punch strong. I have a full conversation. I can understand it. And, you know what I'm saying? Like I can definitely.
Yeah,
I'm a barber. I have a steady hand. You know what I'm saying? I'm a full time barber. I cut hair. So if I'm doing design still, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff with my hands, and still can have conversation with clients and stuff. So, my career is not hung up. I ain't hung up the gloves yet. So at the same time, like I'm not trying to finish my career with the losses. I'm trying to have them to win, 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 and then I'm hanging up the gloves. I'm not even trying to fight bums. I'm not like what's fighting a bum. How am I gonna show and prove that I'm that guy when I'm fighting bums? Like don't ever put a bum in the ring with me. I never fought a bum. You know, I probably fought like to what was really a bum. was really everybody's a fighter. You don't know who's gonna
right.
win when you ring. You don't know who's gonna win when you're in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like I fought guys, I'm way out of shape, and I just got that lucky punch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you
Yeah.
never know who's gonna win. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, more than half of my losses, I got robbed.
Yeah, and that's the warrior's way, right? Yeah, all regardless of what discipline of fighting that you kind of you're in,
Yeah.
it's the fighter's way. You'd rather have you know a bunch, like a few good fights with ranked opponents rather than fighting quote unquote 100 bums in a row and winning.
What are you gonna prove? Like, and then you finally meet your match, and then you lose real big. Like you fought all those bums, didn't really like get any stripes from those fights. I mean, wins of course, but you ain't really learned nothing from them fights. And then you fight or meet your match like me, and then boom, you lose big. Like I done to those fighters. But at the same time, like I'm learning. I'm still learning. Like no matter how nice you are, how many wins you have, you're still gonna learn no matter what fighter you have or you're against. You know what I'm saying? So the local fighters, Abraham Nova, he's doing a real good job because he is doing this thing with listening to his coach and training. Training is a must. Training is a must. If you want to win, you have to train. I learned the hard way. You know what I'm saying? He's learning the easy way. But at the same time, it's nothing. You don't never know who you're gonna fight. He's always ready for the fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I couldn't have said it any better myself. And as you were mentioning about that give one take one type of scenario, right? Um, the Floyd Mayweather Jr. that ended up in the later part of career. wasn't the same Floyd that he was at the beginning of her career. As you know, he was a knockout artist himself, right? And had a very, very kind of gritty brawler type style. Stylistic, yes, of course, because of who his dad and father were. But the thing about it is, like, he ended up being a lot less he became a lot more technical and a lot less flashy in terms of his ring prowess. He was flashy when it came down to booking fights on Cinco de Mayo and fighting Mexican fighters and all that jazz. But realistically, when he really became what he ended up becoming a Hall of Fame level caliber athlete, a world champion. It technically, if you're not the ardent boxing fan, it was probably a boring fight. It's not something that is going to set the world on fire that everyone is going to be talking about in the morning, Monday morning around the water cooler. But the money and the record kind of speaks for himself, right?
Yeah. And actually, I'm like in the same fight bracket as him. Not saying win or losses, but how many fights does he have? 50. So I'm right behind him. But at the same time, he started way before me. But at the same time, like it's like I learned a lot. He learned a lot. But like people can say whatever they can, but the name of the game is get in a fight without getting damaged. So you can hang up the gloves and still be okay to talk and enjoy your life with the kids. And because I have 4 children, I got 4 daughters, and I'm enjoying myself with them now. And I'm trying to see them walk across the stage without me being too beat up in the head. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and as a fighter, that the shift changes. When you have a family and you have kids, right? Because you know combat sports is a selfish endeavor to take on, right? When you're cutting weight, like you were saying, you have to have the right meals. You might not be in the best of moods, right? You're sacrificing going to parties. You sacrificing, having a drink with the boys. All of these things, right? Just say,
I know a lot of fighters that have a wild night after their win, loss, or draw, and they go and get saucy, drunk, wasted, and then fight like a month later. I'm like, how you or next week later? 'Cause I had a few of my fights that I lost or win or draw. I had a fight the weekend after or the week 2 weeks after. You know what I'm saying? So I get phone calls. A lot of matchmakers know me. Like they want to, and actually half of those matchmakers call me just so I can come and knock out a guy that thinks they're the best. And I go in there have a good fight, but I have a loss. You know what I'm saying? I get robbed or you know what I'm saying?
wow. And that's, I mean, to be the hired gun of a promoter, that's got to feel pretty good that they trust you enough to knock the bricks, pardon the pun, off of the dude that thinks he's a world beater.
I've upset a lot of crowds. I've upset a lot of teams. I've upset fighters, families. Like it's the name of the game. Like you go in there, you never know what's gonna happen when you walk out. You know what I'm saying? You don't never know when you walk up and try to punch the guy that's trying to punch you too. And that's I realized that after probably like my 12th fight. Like I'm not saying this game is screwed up, but I got robbed. Like this one fight I had, I fought in Indiana, and not talking bad about Indiana, but I'm saying like we had commission gloves on, but the other corner he only wear those gloves just to match his outfit. And by the time I get back, heading back to New York, I'm finding out that I lost a fight big, and I'm like, he was not supposed to wear those gloves because the gloves that he wore, they came to my corner and asked me. So I tested the glove out. I'm like, nah, don't wear these. I was like, those are the commission gloves? No? Okay, where the commission gloves at? Right here. So I'm filling the commission gloves, filling their gloves. Commission, where'd you get these gloves from? So I brought them home. I'm like, nah, where commission gloves? So now when I get in the ring, I'm not checking their shoes, socks, shorts, mouthpiece. I'm getting there. I'm ready to fight. So now I'm watching the video after I'm heading back to New York, and he was wearing those gloves I told him not to wear. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm hitting him up on Facebook. I'm messaging like, yo, bro, you know you lost that fight. You know you was supposed to wear those gloves. You know, like, I would have beat you. I would have knocked you out the same way you knocked me out. Like, I never got knocked out clean cold. This dude knocked me out clean cold, and I'm not even like I didn't I couldn't fight it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I couldn't. I could have, but it was like whatever. I lost that fight. Could have. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and going to the commission and trying to pick a fight with the commission is, I mean, it's not a tough. I mean, it's a tough road to sow because you're risking your license. It's a monetary fee that you have to pay to even get your fight even listened to and overturned. And you're dealing in a different state. That particular fight was in Indiana, right? You live
yeah,
in New York State, right? And
I'm
you're gonna
by
have to
myself,
go all the way.
and
Yeah,
I was go. I had no team.
that's
And the
nuts.
guy that and the matchmaker that matched me up for that fight, he worked my corner, and I told him like he was not supposed to wear those gloves because he was working other people's corners. Okay, and he worked my corner, and then he I didn't mention it to him, but at the same time, after the fight, I'm like, I called him, I called the match, the promoter, I called some other matchmakers, like, yo, he was not supposed to wear those gloves. He was supposed to wear the same gloves I wore, but that was probably like 5, 6 years ago.
Dang. But see, this is what I love though, because regardless of what has happened to you, your love of the sport, you know, is flowing far more than any particular judge's decision or any one fight or the win-loss record. All of these things that might have taken, somebody else of lesser character, taking them down a few notches. But here you are, still ready, healthy, ready to fight. You're in fabulous shape, right? And you're also giving back to the community.
I had a gym. I was giving back to the community about me opening up a gym. I had it open for a year, and I was training some kids. I'm still training kids now, one on one. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to talk guys into turning amateur and pro, and some guys are amateur and they're trying to turn pro, but it's just a lack of training. People, I'm not gonna turn a guy pro or get them in the ring if they're not training. Because I know I learned the hard way. And I don't want them to do the same mistake I made. Okay.
That's amazing, and what I mean, as a father yourself, it's got to be a really, really cool, feeling to, capture the hearts of young, young kids, men and women, to get in shape, right? Because we're in this kind of social media, video game type age and what have you, and to be able to still like, you know, glove up and show up, that's got to be really cool, right? O'Brien?
Yeah. So somebody tried to call me on Messenger. Can you disconnect and reconnect? Because you're back on the muffled.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hold on. And we are back. How's that?
Oh, still muffled. I think
Can you hear me?
no. I think it was me. I think I got that.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm so Brian's got a cool gym that he is just starting to bring into prominence, right? Where he trains a lot of young men and women are in his community to reach higher than himself. And that's, any generation that has come previously, that is the hope for, whether you're a parent or not, that is the hope, right? Where the next generation coming after you is better than you are, right? And Bryan, in a very real way, is helping his community at large with his gym.
And honestly, it's not even just turning pro. It's just the point of knowing the skill, being in shape. Like I used to be a wrestler in high school, and I was a real good wrestler, and I made it to sectionals. Didn't make it to states, but I had full scholarships to colleges, and it's just a condition thing. Like it ain't just about boxing. It's just because I got P90X and a whole bunch of other workout skills to get in shape or lose weight or get into the pain that you want to get into. But people came to my gym to work out and learn the skill 1, 2, 3 combinations, whatever. And they never wanted to turn pro, even though they're like actually good at it, but they just never turned into a turned it into a career. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and it's funny because the it doesn't matter where it comes from or what you take it the lessons that are learned in the ring, what they find out about themselves. It's awesome that you know obviously as a fighter, yourself, it's something that you have to be completely devoted to. So if you're not completely devoted, it doesn't matter how much skills that you have, what gym wars that you've won, how many rounds that you've won against your training partners, doesn't matter, because when it comes down to it, you have to have that killer instinct. And if it's not there, you're in the wrong business.
people have real good sparring sessions. People have real good sparring goes harder than the real fight. Fighters go harder in sparring than the real fight. You know what I'm saying? So once they have a real good amateur, or not even amateur, but have a real good sparring session with all those fighters that they fought to compete with a guy like me, and they fight a guy like me, and it's like they, they didn't learn. Back to the drawing board. But at the same time, I don't expect. I'm a different fighter. I'm not gonna get in the ring and have a real good sparring session with this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. Great fighters, but then get in a real ring against a guy that is similar to them but not really exactly like them, and then lose. And I'm thinking like something. I'm trying to think about what went wrong. Like how did I lose that fight when I had a real good sparring session against all these guys? I did 30 rounds every time, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like I don't depend on sparring to win a fight.
Yeah. Now, we actually have a fan here. Destiny Eve, Destiny Disney Eve. I'm sorry. Disney Eve says, "Hey, you guys, friend of yours. So thank you, Disney, for joining us here. But yeah, it's amazing to be able to see, how people develop a certain set of skills to, help them in their life, because combat sports is everyday life, and most people don't know it.
Yeah.
How many times have you been downtrodden? You might have lost a job, or you're going for a promotion, and you push yourself a little bit further than you would have otherwise, right? And it takes some strife to kind of get you in there. That essentially is the classic underdog story in every fight that's ever taken place in the history of the world.
Not even mine. Not saying
Yeah,
just my other fighters.
that's it. That's it. Yeah, and it's actually our friend Everett. What's going on, Everett? Thank you for joining us, and thank you for setting this up. But yeah, so it's crazy. Now, first off, tell us more about the gym. What is the name of the gym?
The gym was fitness and training, fitness and fitness and training. Oh, I'm sorry. The cave fitness and training.
And that's located right there in your town.
It was is right on the corner from here from my job. I'm on the corner of McClellan and State Street, and the gym was two lights going towards Albany.
That's cool, and I love how you kind of set it up where you've got the gym, you've got your work, and your residence all kind of in the the same area.
Same circle. So at the same time, when I had my gym, I didn't work at the barbershop. I could cut hair in the back of the gym. I had like a little room in the back that I cut hair. I try to tell everybody that I'm gonna postpone me being a barber and try to take this boxing serious, but just I got so many clients and they just made me not make me, but I just love cutting hair. You know what I mean? So
Like you said, you got the steady hand, and that's it, and that's in the barber world. My sister's a barber. If you got the steady hand, man, you could write your ticket to work anywhere you want.
yeah, I do designs. I do marine high and tight. I do any style. I cut white, black. I wouldn't say grades, but I cut nappy, curly, straight, all kinds of hair. I'm not gonna put the color in, but I cut a lot of different hair.
I might have to take a trip there because yeah, the line is looking kind of
Well,
weird.
I'm a traveling barber. I'm a traveling barber. You tell me where to go, I will come.
There you go. There you go. You might you might have a ticket to the Sunshine State, soon enough. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You make that appointment, I'm coming.
There it is. There it is. Now, obviously, you. So Everett says you're not live on Facebook. Yes, because when we logged out and logged back in, it messed up the signal for Facebook. So we're just doing YouTube right now, and then we will upload this very video onto Facebook. So thank you, Everett. But yeah, so what were some of the boxers that you grew up watching that kind of made you start, training, whether it be, street boxing or otherwise?
Roy Jones Jr., of course, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. I met Mike Tyson. I met Roy Jones Jr. I met Evander Holyfield. Dude, I like Evander. Evander was a technique boxer. Definitely. Roy Jones Jr. was a flashy. They'll do whatever he could do. He can control the ring. You know what I'm saying? He can do whatever he wants. But I have a lot more other boxers that I look up to, but definitely Roy Jones Jr. like a flashy, stay loose, throw a punch from anywhere in the ring. Like your hands go down and hands can be up. You can throw a punch anywhere, man. Like that's the kind of fighter I am. That's how I was doing when before I came to boxing.
Yeah, and this generation kind of forgets about Roy Jones, right? Because they're kind of inundated with the Manny Pacquiao's of the world, or Oscar
Oh,
De
Manny
La Hoya owns.
I like Manny too.
Yeah, absolutely. But Roy Jones was literally like the Michael Jordan of boxing, and multiple weight classes, multiple championships, and the style, many people
And
like Prince Nazim Hamed try to emulate it, couldn't do it.
dominated the ring. Dominated, like made dudes like I'm not saying I finished a lot of people's career, but if you look at it, I was their last fight. So Roy Jones finished dude's career. Uh just like some dudes just can't handle a loss. Like once you get a loss, you just hand up the gloves. You know what I'm saying? So definitely Roy Jones made me like influenced me to stay loose, not really have a technique boxing style, but just can throw your hands from anywhere, wherever they're in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And again, a lot of people, a lot of boxers, regardless of what generation that you are, but if you were born or competed in the sport past 1995, you may be emulating Roy Jones Jr. and not even know it.
Not even
Your coach is studying tape, all that jazz, and you might not even know it.
you know. I actually one of my knockouts. One of my knockouts. I'm gonna show you. One of my knockouts was at Mohegan Sun. Right? I was watching Roy Jones Jr. in the back before I came out in the ring. So Roy Jones Jr. threw a punch like this. He was like, and then fly hook, fly hook. So I was watching that fight probably like 3, 5, 7 times in a row. So what I did when I knocked the guy before I knocked the guy out, I just thought of Roy Jones. I was like, took a deep breath and flew in with that hook and knocked the guy out. But Dominic DeSanto. Dominic no, not Dominic DeSanto. Yep, I think it was Dominic DeSanto. You know, Dominic DeSanto. Like I knocked that guy out. He was a new up and coming,
Yeah,
and I came in there and hit him with that flying hook, and that was it. And that's another fight that didn't make YouTube. That's another fight that a lot
yeah.
of people see.
And I mean, it's almost like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook, right? I mean, that kind of looping, right hook, either to the body or to the head, and he jumped. He had, I mean, when people say he had pop, they're talking about like the jab, the pop in the jab or whatever. But no, Roy Jones Jr. literally popped up as he threw that damn punch,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's amazing.
straight elbow up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I, I'm telling you, I went on YouTube the next day and then the week after and a month later. I was waiting for that to come on YouTube. But guess what? It was televised too. It was televised too. It was televised too, but just not something that I can't find the video for. Like like if I call people right now and be like, yo, can you find that video? And they'll be like, I can find that for you. And then if they find that video, I'm gonna post it. You're gonna be like, this what? How you lose that many times? You know what I mean? Like people still look at me after my fights and be like, how you lost that many times? I'm like, I got robbed. One of my robberies was a guy that wore illegal gloves and he had no padding in the knuckle. So of course that's the only fight I was out cold. The only fight.
What? And the commission let it happen? The Golden Gloves commission let it happen?
Listen, I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to lie. The guy's trainer in his corner came to the locker room where I was at, asked me if he could wear these gloves. They were pink. Now I check the glove, fill them out, and I'm like, where you get these gloves? These are the commission gloves? Like, no, these are the commission gloves. They brought the commission gloves too. So I'm filling the commission gloves and their gloves. Commission gloves, their gloves. I'm like, nope, where's the commission? So now it was fight time. I'm not checking nothing about what he's wearing and this and that. And I didn't realize he had the pink gloves on. So now the first punch he lands out cold. So on my way back, I didn't even know I got knocked out until when I was coming back on the train. When I came back on the train, I go on his Facebook and I checked out his video. I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, we threw a few punches in the land. Then once he hit me with that first punch, I went to bed. And then I'm like, yo, I want to train. Everybody watching. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, yo, I called the matchmaker. I called the promoter. I'm like, yo, he wore the wrong gloves. He was not supposed to wear those gloves, man. No, 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 no. And it was Sunday. So now like everybody's not answering the phone, and they got to. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. That's the truth. I ain't no reason to lie. He wore gloves that had no padding on the knuckle. So when the first punch lands, I'm out cold. And I don't care if I'm saying it. Like I got knocked out one time in my whole career. Out of all my fights, I got knocked out cold one time, and I fought some beasts. I fought Javier Flores, um, Jose Colon, traded the guy. He was a one. I think we fought at 147, and he probably came from like 162 or whatever. But he was a good fighter. I fought Saddam Ali wasn't that a tough fight, but his name was up there. Saddam Ali and Ray Moylet was a good fight. Even though the one punch I went under his punch and I went under his punch and came back and hit the back of his elbow, so that kind of like stiffened my neck, so I couldn't really turn my head. I'm like, oh man, I can't go back out there. You know what I mean? So that fight was quick.
Dang. Now, the fights that you just mentioned, I mean, would you count that as some of your favorite fights that you've been in?
The ones I mentioned were some of the good fights, but all my wins were awesome fights because I wasn't supposed to win. All the fights I won, I was not supposed to win. I came in as a loser, and then
Wow.
I made the fight. You know, and at that time, I probably wasn't sparring or whatever, but I spar here and there. I spar against like amateur fighters, the pro fighters I box is Amir. He's down in Donkey Camp. Amir, Amin. He's probably won a few belts now. Abraham Nova. He's coming up and coming. Abraham Nova. Jai Brown. I think I probably sparred him probably like 3 times because we were at the same amateur, not saying amateur, but we trained at the same gym as Schenectady, So now he
Whoa.
has a gym going on over there wherever he's at. But yeah, man, I had a good time in this field of boxing. I learned a lot, and I'm definitely trying to teach the ones that are trying to come up.
Dang, that's wild. That's so wild. And that stuff right there, if found out and if it were a just, judgment on the commission, that fighter would have had his license revoked in a lot of
Definitely,
states.
definitely. It would have been investigation and everything, man. Listen. Oh, you still talking about that Ed Brown? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But hold up, I was incarcerated. I was incarcerated at the time he passed away. Okay, he's not. Rest in peace. He's not no longer with us right now. But and that's another reason why I wasn't really trying to fight it. You know what I mean? But it happened. It's over. I don't, not really. I'm not saying a big deal to me, but just something I can't really fight because he's not really. He can't fight for himself. So
And that right there, the fact that you were in that situation, and then ended up incarcerated and what have you, right? You've been able to take a lot of lemons in your life and turn them into lemonade, right? And literally inspire everyone around you, you know Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously, we're in a weird time, all over the world, right? A lot of strife happening.
yeah,
What is the BRICS message to anyone that's going through hardship right now?
even not boxers,
Yeah, even non-boxers.
just keep moving forward. Don't let this pandemic stop you from moving forward and doing what you got to do, even though a lot of stuff is still shut down. I believe that we're going to go backwards because a lot of people are listening with the whole wearing the mask and staying the the social distancing, like people just being so careless when it comes to because people are dying. You know what I mean? So um, like my job, like shops just opened up probably like not even a month ago, and we have to wear masks. I got my shield here, and I'm not saying I don't have a mask to wear. If I don't wear this, I'm wearing this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything brick. You know what I'm saying? I'm wearing everything brick. Like everything I have is brick. You know what I mean? So, but I'm definitely covered up and making sure everybody else is safe. Not saying I have it or whatever, but the whole thing is like people are not obeying the law when it comes to staying away from catching the coronavirus. So and people that have passed away and families lost family members from
Yeah,
this is just kind of sad. Just
yeah, absolutely. And a couple of my friends, one friend ended up catching it. Thankfully she's okay, but another friend, she lost her husband. Because he was actually retired, like, and I mean he made well enough in his life that he retired in his early 50s and whatever, not in bad shape at all,
yeah,
and he was at home, she was working, and somehow she brought it home and he ended up passing away from it. So it's very real.
Yeah, it's something that we have no full control over, and now it's just you have to listen to the guys that are doing the testing uh and the scientists. You know what I mean, they know more than us, and we're still like, what did anybody find the vaccine? Did anybody like we were still dying, man? Like how are you not obeying the law to where they keep you safe and others, you know? So
That's almost like a Wall Street, broker trying to teach you how to do a 1-2 punch combo.
a broker.
Yeah, a stockbroker trying to teach you how to do a 1-2 punch
Oh
combo,
no,
right?
no! Don't sleep on the stockbrokers. Don't sleep on nerds because I've seen some nerds throw their hands and they know some stuff. I mean, so
This is true.
I don't sleep on nobody. I see some dudes. And the best people to learn boxing are women because the ones I've trained, they learn faster because the men are like, I know everything. I know what I'm doing. But I'm like, bro, just slow down. Let me teach you how to do this. You'll learn the
Right.
best way you can. But women are
Yes, so you can't judge a book by its cover, you know?
can't. Definitely can't. Like around the time when I was doing the bare knuckle boxing and the documentary was filming a episode in my town. I was at the time still busy with the whole training people and stuff, but I'm trying to slow that down and do more of the documentary, the BKB season one documentary. And I was at the time I was training probably like two fighters, and one of the fighters was female, and the female had two losses on her pro career, and I trained her 2 weeks before her fight, and her fighter was a undefeated fighter, and she won that fight, and everybody was like, oh, she about to lose this fight. Everybody was like so 110, like she's not winning this fight, and then she knocked the girl out in the second or third round. Maybe I think the first round, but anyway, she knocked the girl out like I do. Like I knock people out to win a fight. You have to knock. I'm training her to knock. Her name is Jennifer Woodward. She knocked the girl out and she won the by a knockout. And she was not supposed to win a fight. And everybody in the crowd was like, she won.
That's
No,
that's
no,
incredible.
not saying she was a bad boxer. She knows how to fight, but you going in as a loser. So even though it was a hometown fighter, a hometown fight, but it's going on.
Yeah, and in the ring, that's really how you can test how, what people are made of. It's the ultimate truth teller, and regardless of how she might have looked, that warrior spirit was burning really bright, on her that day.
You know, definitely. So anybody
That's
that
amazing. Now, Brick, tell everyone where they can learn more about you, learn more about the gym, and also your barbering, because that needs to be shouted out as well.
I have a Facebook page called Number Two Bricks Barbering, and I have a YouTube page, Bryan Abraham, and this my Facebook name is Bryan with a Y, Brick Abraham. So
So that would be the best places to find you, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna give my number out yet, but
No, 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 no. We won't know to do that, but definitely they can get into the DMs if they need be. But
yeah,
Bryan, thank you so much for this. I know it's pretty late where you are, but we just appreciate you taking the time to kind of talk to us about your career, and also follow your pages to because you are an active boxer. So if the people want to see the Brick in a boxing promotion near them, they should go on social media and tell the promoter they want their brick right there in their home promotion.
But I have to get my neurology done. I have to go. I have to do all my medicals done before I get in the ring. I've been doing that the last past 5 fights. You know what I mean? So, I actually my last fight I fought, I got robbed. Larry Fryer or whatever his name is from England or whatever. I got robbed by that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I knocked the guy down 3 times and just whatever. So now, yeah, I gave you guys information to reach me if you want to have a conversation. I'm a motivator. I'm a mentor. I'm a therapist. I'm an
Yeah,
unlicensed
man.
therapist. People go through some stuff. I'm a barber. Like mostly all barbers are therapists. You come and get a haircut, and the person sitting in the chair talks, and I talk with them. So
Yeah, most people forget, a barber, a hairdresser, and whatever.
yeah,
You wear a lot of different hats. Just like you said, you're part-time therapist, part-time, best friend, part-time whatever, as you're cutting their hair.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, dude. And we gotta keep this going, my man. So anytime you want to do this again, the door's always open, my man.
I'll inbox you and I get another fight and I'll give you the results and then we can talk about that on the live stream. So I want to appreciate Everett for hooking me up with this live stream and doing a background check type of tell my story type of thing. So thanks Everett and again, nice meeting you. All right.
Likewise, my man, and yes, likewise, Everett. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. But this has been According to Woods with Brick the Boxer, and we are out.
Yeah,
Thanks, you guys.
two. You done? Are you cut the screen or the video?